I had a good friend reach out to me asking if I wanted a trimmer to work on, and this is what they gave me. So my plan was to, of course, make sure that it works, clean it up, and then fix it up and then sell it after using it for a bit. But the trimmer had a different plan in mind, and it was something quite unexpected. In fact, this rarely happens, but to tell you the truth, I'm glad that it did, and when you see it, you'll feel the same way. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this Toro string trimmer. And the problem is that it's not going to start and run, and that's because it needs new fuel lines. However, more than likely, it's probably going to need a lot more attention than that, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The first thing that we need to do is take a look around and see what we're working with, and I'm pretty sure you can tell what it needs more than anything else. Now, I don't know how this was stored, but my guess would be that it was on the ground by a fence with no grass around it. That's obviously not an ideal location, but we'll have to see just how badly it was damaged, but first, let's make sure that it's not stuck. Otherwise, we'll have to free it up before we can try and get it running again. So what you just saw was a recoil that was in desperate need of some lubrication, but we'll take care of that later on. At least we know the engine is not stuck. So after spraying some fuel into the carb, it started and ran for quite a long time in fact. I had to cut it short to save time, but in real time it ran for at least 10 seconds, which means there must have been some fuel inside the carb. I know the fuel lines had nothing in them since they're pretty much non-existent, which will be a problem later on. The reason why is because the routing of the fuel lines is not typical since it has a remote purge bulb. And for those that haven't dealt with one before, it adds a bit more complexity to something that used to be so simple. It didn't help that the engine was covered in mud, which meant the carb was too, so this could get interesting when we do the fuel lines. Now once most of the dirt has been washed away, we'll have to give it time to dry off, then we'll get a better look at its condition. So it's been drying for quite a while now, and to be honest, the trimmer looks to be in a lot better condition, partly thanks to the cleaning, but now the work begins. So it's been a really long time since I've had to do any real extensive repairs to one of these machines, so it will take a minute for me to remember. Now this muffler has a real outlet on it like a steel machine, and that means it should have the same type of spark arrestor too. Now the pull rope itself is in fair condition, but if we have time, replacing it and adding a couple of inches would be nice. The recoil spring will need some sort of attention, mainly in the form of some lubrication, so it'll have to come off. This is when we make an interesting discovery. This type of recoil design is not my favorite, and that's because I find them to be pretty fragile. The worst part is that if it does break, finding a new part is impossible, and a used one is tough to get too. Now this next part is up for debate. I'm going to take off the rear cover, and that's because I plan on taking off the muffler for an inspection. And that's because I have a feeling that the screen might be clogged with carbon, and if so, it could mean the exhaust port might be as well. Now there is no direct connection to a clogged screen and a clogged port, but it would be nice to find out if there was. And after taking off the muffler, we can now get a decent view of the exhaust port. And to my surprise, it turns out the port is spotless, not a speck of dirt in or around the edges. I was not expecting this at all. In fact, I don't recall ever seeing one this clean before. So if the port is that clean, what about the screen? Will it be clean too? Well, unfortunately, the answer is no. The screen is about as clogged as you can get it, which is hard to believe considering how the port looked. For contrast, I put my scissors behind the screen and you can't even see them through it. So how am I going to deal with this clogged screen then? Well, with my usual technique, which is fire, but there are other ways and I'll leave that choice up to you. So you could use oven cleaner or even brake cleaner or some other way to dissolve the carbon that's on the screen. But what if you don't have a propane torch and you still want to use fire then? Simple, use a candle or use your grill. Now the reason I use fire is because I find it to be faster and more convenient than other methods. But for some, that may not be an option, so you might have to get creative, and if you can't do that, then just try a method that I already mentioned. After using a brush to get rid of the ash that's left by the fire, we'll then install it back into the muffler and then move on to the next area. So I was looking at the fuel lines and I'm a bit confused with this one. In fact, I'm trying to reason it out and I'm not sure where it goes. Now maybe once we get the carb off the engine, it'll make more sense, but right now I'm still at a loss. The next thing we'll do is to take out the old fuel lines from the tank and then remove the carb from the engine. Now we might be able to save some money by not having to replace the fuel filter, but we won't know until we get a better look at it. Unlike the recoil, the carb for this engine is still available for sale, but then again, they expect it to fail more often than the recoil. And once we get the carb off the engine, this is when things become a little bit clearer as to what was going on with that fuel line. It turns out someone had pinched this line between the carb and the insulator on the engine, however, that still won't help us with the routing. That's when we also find out that the gasket for the carb and the insulator was also missing, which is extremely important to how the engine runs. Without this gasket, there's almost no chance for the engine to run the way that it's supposed to. Next, we'll redo the fuel lines, and luckily for us, the fuel tank grommet is in great condition, so we won't have to replace it. The first line that I'm going to be installing will be for the fuel filter, and the second one will be for the return. Now, I do want to touch back on the carb issue. I could only guess that someone had plans on fixing this trimmer, but after looking at it, gave up and then put it outside. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately, they left the project in kind of a bad state, but I can't complain too much, at least they tried. I also decided to replace the fuel filter with a different one only because I wasn't sure about the condition of the original one. Also, make sure the filter is located in a good spot so it'll pick up as much fuel as possible. There's nothing wrong if you leave it in the middle of the tank, but if the trimmer is used on its side for edging, it won't be able to pick up the fuel from the far side of the tank, meaning you'll have to refuel sooner than you need to. You can make the return line as long as you want, but I try to leave at least an inch of line inside the tank to keep it from falling out. So the first item I want to check on the carb is the metering diaphragm, and we're looking to see if it has any wrinkles on it, or if it's crooked, or if it's hardened up. Surprisingly, it's still supple. However, the middle part is crooked, which isn't terrible, but it's not ideal either. And because it's crooked, we're going to have to replace it with a new one. So can you fix a crooked diaphragm? And the answer is yes, but it's going to take some time and some special tools to do it. Now, the rest of the carb is not in terrible condition. However, there is some debris on the inlet screen that will need to be removed. Now, because of all the debris in the screen, I'm also going to take out the needle and rocker arm so I can spray down the parts with carb cleaner. Also, be very careful if you decide to go this far because these tiny parts are really easy to lose. Once they're out of the way, we'll then use a liberal amount of cleaner on the parts, making sure to spray into as many of the passages as possible. Yes, I do have an ultrasonic cleaner that I can use, but it doesn't always guarantee a successful cleaning. And besides, you can't save every carb you come across, so I try the best I can, and if it doesn't work, we'll go with plan B, which is a new carb. So if your engine won't start and it seems to be a carb-related problem, you're more than welcome to take the carb apart for more cleaning. But I will let you know the success rate for 2 or more cleanings with a bad carb is extremely low. So in my opinion, I think it's a better use of your time to just replace the carb if you're still having problems with it, but it is your project and you're welcome to make your own choice. The reason that I know that is that I've tried several times to clean a carb multiple times and I've only been able to save a couple of them. So yes, I did save money by not having to replace it, but I can't get back the time I used on those other ones that I couldn't fix. So next up was a problem that I was not prepared for, and that was having to replace the missing gasket. Now, to get around this problem, I decided to make my own by applying oil to the carb and laying some gasket paper over it. Now, it's not perfect and it doesn't look like the OEM one, but it should work. The toughest part though was transferring the small impulse opening because the oil covered over its location, but this should be close enough. Next, we're going to replace the fuel lines including the purge bulb. Just remember that the longer port is for the return line back to the fuel tank. Also, the small brass port on the front of the carb is the one that will connect to the short port on the bulb. So basically the routing is like this. The filter line will connect to the larger brass port on the bottom of the carb. The small brass port will then have a short fuel line that will connect to the short port on the bulb. That only leaves the return line connecting to the longer port on the bulb. This is the problem with remote purge bulbs. It adds unneeded complexity, time, and money to a machine. That's one of the reasons why this practice is avoided as much as possible to save time and money. I don't mind too much, but I don't like dealing with these only because it makes my job a whole lot harder. Now, leaving these 2 lines long makes it a lot easier to deal with, but eventually we'll need to cut them back. So the fuel line from the front brass port will connect to the short port on the bulb, and the return line back to the fuel tank will connect to the longer port on the bulb. After that, push the bulb into its opening, and if it won't go in, try rotating it in either direction. The last fuel line to connect will be the filter line to the bottom brass port on the carb. Then we'll add some fuel to the tank, press the bulb several times, and make sure it's working like it should be. Now, if your bulb is not filling with any fuel, there's either a problem with the carb, the fuel line routing, or the fuel filter. I know that's not a very specific answer, but those are the areas you'll need to look at if that happens. Also, I didn't show it, but I did spray some lubricant into the spring area of the recoil, and it's now working a whole lot better. Also, for testing purposes, I'm going to leave off the air filter cover. Yes, not having the filter on it could affect it, but it's only made out of foam anyway, so it won't affect it as much as a real filter would. So I'm going to have to interrupt, but that was not a promising start. In fact, all the starts that day were all the same. It would start and run for a couple of seconds and then stop when off choke. And no matter what I did, it didn't get any better. I then put it aside and started looking at carbs to order. Now for some reason, I was hesitant on ordering a new carb, probably because I knew it was simply not worth it on a trimmer like this one. But something really strange happened 24 hours later. I decided to give it another go, and this is what happened. So after letting it sit for 24 hours, it now starts and runs, whereas the day before, it wouldn't stay running at all. Now I did bring this up in a shorts video, and a lot of the viewers had some good insight about it. But as for me, I was just happy that it was working all while I did nothing to it. Of course, I don't like having to explain magical fixes because I'm based on logic and reason, but hey, who doesn't like magic? But to be honest, even if I put a price tag of $30 on it at a garage sale, the chances of it selling are pretty slim. And that's because this is not a commercial machine and only diehards would want to buy it. But for right now, I'm just going to run it until it's empty and then put it away until I can decide on what I want to do with it. Of course, you can store your equipment however you want to, but for those that know me, my choice is empty. So my question is, would you want a trimmer like this one, and if so, how much is too much for it? Now if I saw a good example like this one at a garage sale, I know I'd make an offer for it, just not a high one. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.